Well, hello everybody. This is Brian, keeping Walt in Disney, and hope everybody's doing okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me all right. Looks like everybody can hear me fine. This is Brian, and I am going to have a guest on the show today, and it is my good friend Jared. Can you hear me, Jared?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fine, great, awesome.
How's it going?
It's it's going good. I'm glad to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, good time. So I asked Jared to join me on this kind of live action chat while we talk about The Parent Trap and Hayley Mills and Brian Keith and Maureen O'Hara because, like me, he is a huge Disney live action fan. I mean, I don't even think huge is a big enough word. Well, how would you describe your fandom?
I love it. It's so bizarre, but it's only bizarre by other people, what other people think, because I've always loved it ever since I was little. So I don't
hmm
know. And I'm pretty forgiving with a lot of them, even though some of them are bad, but most of them are just fantastic. I love them.
Yeah, and then you're one up on me because I've really only recently rediscovered live action films. I mean, I watched them as a kid, but I my love affair really just got started about 15 years ago, and I haven't looked back
It's
since then.
well, I'm
So
glad you enjoy it.
yeah, I mean, they're great films, and they need to stay popular, or at least get more popular, and they need to release
I agree.
more of
Well,
them.
I'm glad that Disney Plus at least has some of them,
hmm
so that people can get more educated and watch them and learn
Exactly.
to love them.
Right. I'm glad that Disney Plus has quite a library of films that they've released, and more are coming. It seems like every month.
Hmm.
And let's take a look at who's in the chat room. Ryan. Oh, Ryan's here. He had the honor of meeting Haley Mills once and his sister Julia. Yeah, I'm so jealous.
Oh,
Someday, it seems like Haley is not very interested in coming to the States anymore. I think she'd just get bombarded by fans if she did.
I no, well, I can only imagine. I mean, she was only in six films for Disney, well, six theatrical films for Disney, but she left
hmm
such a legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen any of her non-Disney output?
I have actually. You know what? I had watched it before, but I actually just bought the Blu-ray for the Chalk Garden.
Oh, outstanding. I saw that. Yeah, I got the Blu-ray too.
I really liked that one.
Yeah. I think her dad is in that as well.
He was in
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, they kind of got together quite a few times. Her and Sir John Mills to do movies, not only for Disney but for the Brits over there.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about when I first started following you on Instagram, I think you were just about finishing up this crazy challenge that you put yourself up to. So tell everybody about this challenge that you did. It's
So this
awesome.
this was a while. Well, this was I think like 2014, and I had a bunch of free time, and I was watching a live action Disney film that I actually had never seen before. I honestly don't even remember which one it was. And then I started thinking, you know what? I think there are more that I have not seen. So what I decided I wanted to do, because I had actually a lot of free time, at least at the beginning of that year, I decided that I wanted to watch every film released theatrically by Walt Disney Productions or Walt Disney Pictures between 1937 all the way up until at that year it was 2014. So I started with
Wow.
Snow White, because it was animated and live action. So I started with Snow White,
Okay. Did
and then
both.
the last one in 2014 was Into the Woods, I believe,
Okay. The musical.
was the musical
Yeah.
Into the Woods, yes.
Okay.
And I didn't watch them in any particular order. There was a lot of them that I had to just plop through, basically.
Yeah, I know.
The the 70s were a little rough. The 90s were really rough. Um, but and then I saved a few of the ones that I absolutely loved
Hmm.
for the last, so I had something to reach for. And the one that I
That's
saved for the
good.
last was the No Mobile, which
All
is what
right.
I
Yeah,
it's my favorite of the live
that's your
actions.
favorite.
And
Yeah.
that's why I on my Instagram, every Disney flick, that's why I go by Jasper the Gnome.
Uh-huh. The gnome who was in search of a gnome bride
Yes.
throughout. I can't remember the name of the actor that played Jasper, but you probably know that.
It was oh my gosh, I darn it, I don't remember his name, but he played Canoe in that darn cat.
Oh, he's the same guy. Oh,
Yes, the same guy.
Lowell. Tom Lowell.
Tom Lowe sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris will know. Chris is in here. Chris says that he thought Haley was a twin when he was a kid. Of
Oh,
course, I think
you
a
know what?
lot of people did.
A lot of people did, and honestly,
Yeah.
and I know that we're going to talk about it, but I actually rewatched The Parent Trap the 2 nights ago,
Oh,
and I
great.
was looking, and man, I would have been blown away in 1961 seeing all of this for the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It was seamless.
Right. I mean, it was incredible what they were able to achieve with that film, with the technology they had at their disposal back in the 60s. So, what was your favorite? Well, we already told us your favorite Nomobile. I guess the more entertaining question is what was the film that you felt didn't really, you, well, what film did you fall asleep during the most?
So there were, I will say, so on my account at the end of the challenge, I decided to do my top 10 and then my bottom 10. Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
It was such a blur. I don't remember, but I do know that especially the 70s were pretty bad. I didn't care for Scandalous John,
Yeah, that's a rough one to get through.
which was
Brian
another
Keith.
one
Yeah.
with Brian Keith. Yes.
Yeah.
I did not, I absolutely remember hating one of our dinosaurs is missing.
Ah, yeah, that can be a difficult one.
It was, it was
That
particularly
even though
difficult for
it's
me.
got a great cast, it's got Peter Ustinov and Helen Hayes in it. So yeah,
Yeah. I
right.
mean, but I watched that, what, 2014, so 7 years ago.
Hmm.
So maybe I should rewatch it again with fresh eyes. Maybe I was just watching too many movies in such a short amount of time, but
Yeah,
that one I was like, oh,
it's yeah, it's a little bit well, yeah. Just watch it. I think you can still you can purchase that one on Amazon, I believe, or Apple Movies. That's how I own it.
yes.
Yeah.
And well, and I have it on the VHS.
Yeah, of course you do. You're like a VHS aficionado. I think that's so cool. That's one area that I haven't branched out into with collecting. So,
I just love the artwork. I always loved
hmm.
it growing up. And just through the years, I would pick them up at a thrift store or a video store when they were used or whatever. And
Hmm.
yeah, now I
Yeah,
have this
awesome.
big collection.
So Ryan says that he had a very similar, well, he's in the midst of a similar challenge watching all the films. I did. I watched all of them myself from 1937 up to 1986. I want to say I stopped at the Flight of the Navigator.
Okay.
I had to pick somewhere. My friend Chris convinced me to go into the 80s because he told me I had to watch Return to Oz. I couldn't
Oh,
leave that out of my challenge.
oh, so Chris likes
Yeah, oh,
Return to Oz.
he loves that movie. Yeah.
Okay, so my
Hmm.
top three Disney films of all time, and don't judge me. I know that I know that you won't. But the one that I have such fun watching is Tron Legacy.
Oh
I
yeah,
really
I like that
enjoyed the
movie.
sequel. Yeah, I really enjoyed the
Okay.
sequel. That's my favorite one. The No Mobile is my second favorite, and my third favorite is Return to Oz.
All
I
right.
love Return to Oz. I haven't even begun to
Yeah.
post the stuff I have from Return to Oz on my account, so
Okay.
look out for that.
All right. Looking forward to it. All right. Well, hey, let's get into the Parent Trap real quick before we do that. Let's see what people are saying here. Oh, he's talked. Chris was had a couple comments about the Nomobile. Walter Brennan, of course. Ed Wynn was in that.
Oh,
Yep.
yes. Yep.
And Brian, yeah, get going on your challenge. There's there's a lot more awesome film. I know Ryan, he's a big TV nut, and we both are. We always gripe about how Disney hasn't released enough of the old TV episodes, like the Disneyland anthology stuff. So
I would love to watch all of that. So I would agree. Ryan, keep pushing through because it's worth
yeah,
it. There are
keep.
some stinkers, but most of them are fantastic.
All right, so let's get together and talk a little Parent Trap, since that's what everybody voted to talk about today. Much to my disappointment, because I had it going up against Pollyanna, and that's my fault. I probably should have done Pollyanna versus In Search of the Castaways or something. Then maybe
That's
I would have won.
Pollyanna versus one of our dinosaurs is missing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Parent Trap. Yeah, we'll have to do Pollyanna for sure. I mean, I'll just go Pollyanna versus Pollyanna and force everybody to pick.
So good.
pick it.
So good.
So the Parent Trap was released on June 12th, 1961, and directed by David Swift, who not only directed it, he wrote the screenplay, just like he did with Pollyanna. So he was doing double duty on this. And there's a
Oh,
cool story about how this whole film came to be. Walt was on vacation in Germany, in Munich, and I don't remember who handed him a book, but he got handed this book called Das Doppelte Lochen. That I'm probably butchering the German there,
I'm glad you
but
said it because when I was looking at it, I was like, I'm not even going to try that. So
yeah.
thank you for saying it.
The English translation is Lottie and Lisa. So that was a book written by Eric Kastner, and Walt loved it. He absolutely loved the book about the twin girls who were separated at birth and met at camp, and decided he wanted to turn this into a movie. One question for the folks that are watching right now is Eric Kastner also wrote another book that turned into a Disney film. So I'll see if anybody can come up with that, unless you know, Jared.
I do not know that one.
Okay.
Sorry about
It's a little obscure.
that.
It is a film on Disney Plus, but it's not as not one of the most popular ones. I love it. My youngest son, Kyle, he loves it too. We've watched it together, and we actually thought about dressing up as a couple of the characters in that film at a D23 Expo. So nobody
Well,
would know who we are.
oh, you know what? Oh, yeah. I
No?
looked it up, so I'll let people.
Okay, you
I'll
looked it
let
up.
people
Good.
answer.
All right.
Yes.
So the ugly dachshund, no, that's a good guess. There are no bad guesses here. It's a little obscure.
A
I'll give you
little
guys a hint. It's about a young boy who kind of gets robbed on a bus ride to Berlin, and he enlists the help of Roger Mobley, one of the more popular actors in the film, to help him get his money back. And they end up cracking this crazy case of bank robbers. it's a fun movie. Yeah, and Chris got it.
There, Chris.
And
Uh,
Ryan too. All right, you probably came in at the same time. Yep, Emil and the Detectives is that?
it's good. That's actually
Yeah.
one of the movies I do not have the VHS of.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good one. 1964. I think it was overshadowed a little bit by another film by Julie Andrews was in. You
Yeah.
know, total flop at the
Uh,
theater. Yeah.
absolute flop.
Dick Van Dyke and Julie Andrews were never the same after that. So, so all right. So Bill Swift got this book. He wrote a screenplay, and for the cast. Now, his cast that he picked for this was just superb. I mean, maybe he had a knack. Him and Walt had a knack for picking great casts. Like they did that in Pollyanna, and they didn't miss a beat in The
No, they
Parent
did
Trap.
not. They
So,
absolutely did not.
who are your favorites in there
You
besides
know,
Hayley Mills?
besides Haley Mills, I liked, I hadn't seen this one probably in a few years, and I actually really liked. I ended up really enjoying. I thought I liked Brian Keith best, but I like Maureen.
Yeah, Maureen
And
O'Hara is absolutely beautiful, and just you can't take
she's
your eyes off her.
you can't. And the scenes where she realizes that it's not uh, Sharon, you
Hmm.
just look at her and the way that she is discovering that, and the way that she just instantly, it doesn't matter because she loves Susan exactly the same. She just is a fantastic actress in that.
Yeah, just she had major street cred in Hollywood already, and she just brought that.
Hmm.
She brought it big time to that screen. So Brian Keith, Maureen O'Hara, of course, Haley Mills. One of my favorite characters, Leo G. Carroll, who plays the Reverend or the priest. Yeah, I we'll talk about him a little later.
Oh yeah.
Joanna Barnes, she's just lovely as can be, and kind of like the villain,
Hmm.
the third wheel, so to speak. Although maybe Maureen O'Hara is probably the third wheel that she comes crashing in and disrupts things. And Charlie Ruggles is also in
Charlie
this.
Ruggles. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a couple other Disney films. Follow Me Boys and The Ugly Dachshund, I think, was another one that he was in.
Yeah, he was an ugly dachshund. He was also in Son of Flubber,
Oh, yeah,
the
he was.
sequel to.
Was he a reporter?
Uh,
He had a he had a small role in that one,
it was
didn't
it
he?
was a small
Oh
role.
no, he was the judge at the end, wasn't he?
That makes yes, when they're
I
bringing
think
in
so.
all those
Yeah, the
vegetables.
vegetables.
Yeah,
Edward, yeah, he
that's
was the
exactly what
judge.
it
That's
was.
right.
And also,
Yep.
when I was looking it up, apparently he did a voice. He was the voice on Ben and Me
Okay.
for Disney. That was his first thing for Disney, and that was like 9 or 10 years before
All right.
Parent
I
Trap.
didn't know that. Cool. I like that short. So Chris mentioned a couple we left out. Nancy Culp. She was one of the camp counselors. Yeah.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Awesome actress. And Una Merkel
Una
was what was her name in the film?
Ver,
Like
Verbena. Wait,
Verbena. Yeah.
Verbena. Yes.
Yeah. And she was in Summer Magic, and
Oh,
yeah, of course, she was absolutely wonderful in that. And then I want
what
to say
run?
she was in Those Callaways. I remember her having a
She was in, no. Well, I looked that up too. She's in a Tiger
oh, Tiger
Walks.
Walks, not Those
Yeah.
Callaways. Yeah, her character in Tiger Walks was a little snooty, kind of uppity. It I didn't care for that character as much as I do her other two. But
Well, you
yeah,
know who else was in a Tiger Walks? Brian Keith.
yeah, yeah. Brian Keith and Kevin Corcoran and the beau, or I don't know, it was Hamilton. Hamilton from Summer Magic, Mr. Hamilton
Was
from Summer
also
Magic.
Mr.
Yeah, he was a cop in that one. Yeah, yeah, cool, man. It's so fun talking to someone who knows all these obscure actors.
I know it's
So
people think I'm crazy sometimes,
yeah,
but
no, you're
whatever.
not, man. We're crazy. Well, if this is crazy, then I don't want to be anything else. So.
There was one other person, in the advertise. Well, when you posted today about how we're going to go live, and you also said that Susan Henning
Yeah, yeah,
was she was Haley Mills's twin
yeah.
double.
The double. Hmm.
But what's interesting, what's very apropos, is that she also was an uncredited gnome maiden in the Gnome Mobile.
What?
Yes,
Seriously? That's
yes.
awesome. So she was one of the girls that was running around
So I'm gonna
chasing
have
after
to,
Jasper.
yes, I'm gonna have to go and look for that
Yep,
because
I am too. Totally.
because Ed Wynn like lists off all of they all have like flower names like Violet and Snapdragon, all that. So
Hmm.
um, I wonder which one she was.
I don't know. She probably had one of those cute dresses, though.
Oh yeah, just flying.
I mean, there were a whole lot of them. I mean, Jasper was in an envious position for sure.
uh,
All right, so that's the cast. Now, uh, you can't talk about the Parent Trap without mentioning the Sherman Brothers. So before we talk about the plot, I kind of want to go through a little bit about the Sherman Brothers and that title sequence. Now, that is one of the coolest openings to a Disney film because it's kind of they used some stop animation, and they had a trio of folks in the studio that were awesome at this. I wrote down two of them. I couldn't find the other one. Maybe you looked it up. But Teehee, Exitencio, and I want to say Bill Justice was the other. But they just did this awesome title sequence of like using these little paper dolls and things that were moving around on the screen and Chris got it. Annette Funicello and Tommy Sands singing the Parent Trap song.
The Parent Trap.
Yeah, and it's so cute. Yeah, Bill Justice. I think that's it. I failed in my research, but Chris
If
can
anyone
always.
knows, it's Chris.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was. They did quite a few of these besides the Parent Trap. They did blanking on some of the other title
Didn't they do like
sequences.
Misadventures of Merlin
Yeah,
Jones?
right. Merlin Jones. And oh, there it is, right? A Symposium on Popular Songs. That is an outstanding short.
Oh, I haven't
Lots,
seen that one.
yeah. Yeah, look that up. A lot of great Sherman Brothers songs in there. A lot of fun ones. They kind of mimicked a lot of popular songs of different eras. And they kind of gave them a little Disney spin. There's like Chris knows all about it. He loves that short, so he could probably rattle off some of the spoofs, some of the popular singers and those songs they were making light of. But it's a lot of fun, a lot of stop animation, a lot of neat little stories in there. So
Was Parent Trap the first one to do it? Do you know?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe that was their first one. The Boogie Woogie Bakery Boy. Yeah, the Fortune Cookie Bakery Man or something. That's one of them. And I dropped $1 million. I can't remember the name of that one. No, Chris is saying no, it's not the first. Probably.
Oh, it's not.
This Symposium may have been first. I'm not sure.
But was it the first one for like a full-length film?
Oh,
Oh,
Babes
Babes
in
in
Toyland.
Toyland.
Yeah.
But did that come out the same year though?
I think Babes in Toyland was after The Parent Trap. Wasn't that 1962?
No, I think it was 61. But I
Oh,
would
the same
imagine
time?
it came out at Christmas. I don't know. I didn't look. But
Yeah.
incidentally, and I'm sure I don't know if this was on your list, but Annette Funicello and Tommy Sands
Oh, that's right.
were
Yeah.
also on Babes in Toyland together.
Yeah, and they were on set. So they were at hand when Bill Swift or Bill Swift, why am I saying it's David Swift? Bill Swift was a Giants pitcher back in the 90s. Okay, I'm a big Giants fan. David Swift and Paul Smith, I think, was one of the other composers in this one. They grabbed Annette and Tommy to come over and sing that title song, and there's a neat video of them wearing their get-up, like that opening scene in Babes in Toyland when they're in the square, the town square.
Yeah.
So Annette's wearing that dress, and Tommy's got his like lederhosen kind of outfit going on. It's really funny. So
I love Babes in Toyland. I love it.
yeah, it's a great movie. So the Sherman Brothers, they were. It's a really funny story how they got roped into working on the Parent Trap. Well, Disney was working on a made-for-TV special called The Horse Masters, which had Annette in it, and Walt Disney was like, hey, let's just get those guys who wrote the songs for Annette, like Tall Paul and Pineapple Princess, and let's get those guys in here to write a song for the Horse Masters. So they came in, they met with Walt, and but by that time, Walt had already read the script for Parent Trap. He had Parent Trap on his mind. He's like, okay, we need songs for this too. So when the Sherman Brothers came to Walt's office, they assumed he was going to be talking about the Horsemasters, but he went in and started talking about the plot of the Parent Trap and what they needed a title song. They needed a title. They needed
Hmm.
they needed a few more songs, and then uh, what happened was Robert and Richard were like, "Hey, I thought we were talking about the Horsemasters. We've got this song all ready to go. It's called the Strumming Song."
Hmm.
And Walt's like, "Oh crap, that's right. Well, go ahead and play it for me." And so they play it for him, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that'll work. That'll work." And here I've already wasted all your time, so here's the script for Parent Trap. See what you guys can come up with. And so the title songs that they had, the songs that they had tried to write, um, well, let's see. One of the titles they came up with was "We Belong Together," which eventually turned into "Let's Get Together." But that's not a title that Walt or David Swift liked. Another title that was thrown out there was called "Petticoats and Blue Jeans," and that Walt frowned at. He
Okay.
didn't want this. He already ran into issues with Pollyanna not being successful with boys. So
Because of the
having
name, yeah.
because of the name. So if you had petticoats in the name of another Disney film, it probably wouldn't go over well with the male viewership at all. So that song actually turned into a song that Hayley Mill sang called "Whistling at the Boys." And you can hear that in the film, but just an instrumental version. I believe it's the second song they play at the dance party after Haley's already had her dress cut out.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And oh, Chris says he can't hear anybody. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, must be on his end. Hopefully he can get back with us. So. So yeah, "Whistling at the Boys" was an instrumental in the film. The second dance number, the first one was Annette and Tommy singing "Let's Get Together." Yeah. So, all right, he's back. Good, because we need you, Chris, in case we
Welcome back.
give out misinformation. So that was a title gone wrong, "Petticoats and Blue Jeans." So it's a good thing.
Yes.
For Now, for Always was also considered to be the title. That was a song that the Sherman Brothers wrote. And that's a neat little story because the Sherman Brothers had to write some sort of love song, a ballad. And they decided to write this song, "For Now, for Always," thinking Maureen O'Hara would sing it. And they wrote it in kind of like that mid-1940s style,
Hmm.
because that would have been the age, that would have been the year or that time frame when Brian Keith and Maureen O'Hara first met, the mid-40s. Assuming that Hayley Mill's character, like Susan and Sharon, were about 14 or
Right.
15 years old. So that worked out really well, but not as a title. But it's a
Was
lovely song.
but so I have a question. Was Maureen O'Hara particularly known for singing?
Not that I'm aware of.
It
It's
seems like it
it's
would be a risk to write for an actress to sing. I know that they can always
yeah.
do voiceover or dubbing, but
Hmm. Well, it's definitely her singing in the film dubbed. I mean, that's pretty clear when you watch it.
yeah, yeah.
But there is I believe there's a recording out there that Disney released that has a different actress singing. And Chris knows the answer to that. He is the music master, so I'll let him uh, answer that one.
Okay.
So that didn't work out as a title, and somehow or another, Parent Trap was floating around, and that kind of disturbed the Sherman Brothers because of the words "parent" and "trap." And "Parent Trap" has two T's together, and they were thinking about telling Walt, you know what, we can't write a title song with "Parent Trap," and there's two T's in a row. It's going to mess up everything. But they they had they backed out on that, and they knew that Walt said, your first response to Walt when he asked you to do something was never say, "I don't think so. I don't know how we're going to do that." You just say, we'll figure it out. We'll do it. So they
Hmm.
did, and they ended up just blending the T's together and making it work. And it's a fantastic song.
I couldn't imagine it without that song.
Hmm.
And is that
Yeah.
how then the name of the Parent Trap, is that how it got its name then? Because of the song first, or was the song written after?
The song was written after they came up with the Parent Trap
Okay.
title. So they took that and then wrote that amazing song. So, uh, yeah, so let's continue on here. We talked about the Sherman brothers. Let's see if I missed anything. Oh, we should go back to the chat and see if we missed any questions.
By the way, if anybody here has not heard the Strummin' song, it's fantastic. It's on
Oh,
Spotify.
yeah, great song. Yeah, I love the version that's released on the Sherman Brothers 2 disc album because there's as Annette is singing the song towards the end, she's just like, I'm dying to break up. So there's a little bit of that.
It's like a blooper or something, but
Yeah,
they
a little
keep it in.
studio blooper. It's so funny.
It's
Yeah,
so
I think
great.
you hear Richard Sherman
Totally.
singing too. It's hilarious. I think he surprised her when he came in and they started singing a duet. So fantastic songs. Chris says Noah's Ark was the first stop motion project, possibly. Okay, that sounds right. That was definitely before Parent Trap. And Maureen O'Hara sang the song on the album. Yeah, this one right here. This is, you can hear that song
Oh,
on
I am
on
jealous of that
the
album.
album. Yeah, there it is. It's For Now, For Always right there. Uh, well, there's actually a couple versions here, the Camerata Orchestra and Chorus, and then it appears again later on in the album right there. The Richard M. Sherman, Robert B. Sherman, and Maureen O'Hara singing. So, a couple versions
Hmm.
on that album. Yeah. Great song. Oh, and it's actually on side 2 as well. Maggie's theme from The Parent Trap. So you get triple bonus on this album if you are into that song. So
It's a good
yes.
one.
Yeah. There's Hayley. So yeah, she sang on the album and only kind of dee in it.
Hmm.
That's right.
While she's walking on the
Yeah,
treadmill.
while she's walking on a treadmill. Yep.
They spared no expense for the split screen for the twins, but you know what? We're
Hmm.
gonna
That's
we're
right. I know. It's just I read that. It's like they did all this cool sodium vapor process to get the both twins on the screen, but then when it came to the walk in the park, it was just kind of, it was a little off. So the film's set in an old YWCA girls camp out in Big Bear.
Mhm.
Interesting. Ruthie, when we did this film, we did a Haley Mills podcast. Ruthie mentioned, she's our co-host with the mostest, co-hostess with the mostest.
Mhm.
She actually went to this camp when she was a little girl.
Oh, the
So
same camp.
yeah, and she thought that was so cool. She went.
Wow.
She went. She didn't go in the '60s. She went later.
Right.
Uh, but she thought that was so cool that she was like at the same camp that they filmed the movie in, and of course that camp was called Camp Inch. And here's another question for the audience out there: there is a made-for-TV special that features somebody wearing a sweatshirt with Camp Inch on it. If you can tell me the name of that movie where there's a little girl wearing a Camp Inch sweatshirt, gray sweatshirt with the green, I think it's a clover leaf with the Camp Inch logo on it. Yeah, see if anybody can come up with that one.
Yep, I do not know that one.
What's the
Wait,
what's the
so,
name? What's the name of the movie and the girl that's wearing the gray sweatshirt with the Camp Inch logo? Michael McGreevy was in it. That's a hint. We talked about that on our show interview with him.
I mean, I can try guessing, but
Okay. Yeah.
it's not like, oh my gosh, why now I'm blanking. It's For Love of Willadine.
Yeah, you're on the right track. The it was Michael McGreevy and Bill Mummy were both in this one as well. Hmm.
What was the one? I'm gonna say it wrong. Something the fourth.
Oh,
Maureen. No.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of that. Michael O'Hara the fourth.
Michael O'Hara the fourth. Yeah. So
Yeah,
nope,
no,
not that one.
no, not that one. It's one of his first that he ever did. Yeah.
Oh, Sammy
Snowball
the Way Out
Express.
Seal.
Yeah, Sammy the Way Out Seal. Right.
Sammy the Way Out Seal. That's it.
Uh-huh. Sammy the Way Out Seal and Ann Jillian is the girl that's wearing
And
the
yeah,
yeah.
who
And
was also in Babes in Toyland.
yeah, there you go. Snowball Express, Chris. Yeah, that's right. That was definitely a Michael McGreevy classic. So we've kind of talked about the movie. Are we missing anything from the plot that you wanted to kind of talk about? Our favorite
Um,
scene. Why don't we just talk about our favorite scenes? Then pretty much everybody knows the Parent Trap.
yeah, I would be shocked if people, at least people who are tuning in, have not
Hmm.
seen
Yeah.
this film and know it. Um, you know what? I don't know. I will say, you know what drove me nuts when I was little about this movie? It it and I understand that they have to do it because you have to do it to do the plot, but it always bothered me that they had to cut Sharon's hair because I always liked Sharon's hair longer than the short hair that Susan had. So I'm like, when they started cutting it, it always made me like, oh, I'm so
Yeah.
disappointed that you have to cut it.
Well, the camp was only 5 weeks, so they couldn't wait for Susan's hair to grow longer.
Yeah, no, I know, I know. I understand
Yeah.
all of it. I just was like, oh.
Uh-huh. I
Um,
love how when her grandmother and mother get upset at how she cut the hair. Like, what did you do with your hair?
uh, there's always the basic, excuse me, there's always the basic let's get together scene where they perform the song where they set up the date for the mother and father at what is it? Not Maggi, is it Maggiano's? Nope.
Martinelli's.
Martinelli's.
Yeah.
Maggiano's, I think, is like a
Hmm.
current restaurant.
Yeah.
Martinelli's, and that's always memorable. But one thing in rewatching it this past week, one scene that I absolutely loved was the first time um, Maureen met Vicky.
Oh,
So
okay.
when
Yeah.
Maggie meets Vicky,
Hmm.
and then Vicky gets all upset. Vicky's with her mom. So Vicky is the lady who Brian Keith, the twins' father, is going to get married to, and Maggie, who is Maureen O'Hara, is there to bring Susan back to her rightful place. And it happens to be when Vicky and Vicky's mother is in the house, and they get upset, but she tries to keep it classy. She tries to smile, and there's always
Uh-huh.
all these little snide comments, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
back and forth between Maggie and Vicky is so fantastic because they're just pushing at each other.
Yeah. I love the scene, like right when she's leaving in the car with
Yes.
she's like, we got to go out and go get things for the wedding, and Maggie's like, oh, just put it all on Brian's tab. He's loaded. And they're like, oh, really?
I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know
Oh.
that.
it's
So
so it's so well written. It's so
yeah,
great.
it is. It's awesome. So let's see. Chris said his favorite scene is the punch bowl scene. Of course,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
So the girls are when they first meet each other at the camp, they're like, I can't believe a girl with the same face as you is here, and they're just like bound and determined to make the camp miserable for one another. So
Hmm.
there's the tent booby trap. When they right before inspection, they just destroy Sharon's cabin,
Hmm.
and so they decide to get back during the dance. They cut Hayley's dress off, and she's so embarrassed. I love that scene because it's just kind of one of those, like, I don't know if you call it chivalrous or it's just ladies etiquette where her two friends don't want to cause a scene, so they kind of whisper to each other, and then they go straight up and then just take her out right away. I mean, there
Hmm.
a scene ensues anyways, but I just like how the girls tried to at least taste as tastefully as possible get her out of that situation. But yeah, so it immediately Susan knows it's Sharon because they're like outside. They had not been in. They had demerit, so they couldn't go to the dance. So they're out, in their regular camp gear, laughing, and boom, the fight.
Hmm.
And the male counselor is trying to save everything on the table. The table tips over. The punch bowl falls in his face, and then like Miss Inch is just one of the most funniest parts. So she's like, "I have a cake in my hand." And she like it gets stuck on the beak of that totem pole, and then it just falls on her face.
And then it just like I will say this: the cakes in Disney films in the '60s looked so darn delicious,
Yeah,
and I remember them in Pollyanna as well. And I just want to eat those cakes.
yeah. Ruthie
And
said the same thing in our Hayley Mill. She says those cakes are the same as in Pollyanna, and I love them.
they're for real. They're 60 years
Yeah,
old, and I and I want to eat them.
I'm sure. I bet they called Rita Shaw back to the set of Parent Trap to make those cakes. Her and Angelica, Mary Grace Canfield. They both got together in Polly's kitchen and baked
Mm.
up all that food. So yeah, that's a great scene. Somebody else said
So
they had a favorite scene. Go
yeah,
ahead and
they
share
like.
your
I love
favorite scenes.
Disney Girl Forever 30 says I love the part where Maureen punches Brian.
Oh yes, yeah. They get off. They continue right where they left off.
Hmm.
Maybe that was the cause for the split. Yeah, she was quite the. She had quite the right hook, huh?
She did, and
Boink.
it definitely left a mark.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Brian Keith was kind of wimpy there. He could have defended himself a little bit better there. But my one of my favorite scenes is, well, I have two, um, and I talked about these in the podcast. But I just love Leo G. Carroll's character. He's the Reverend, and
Hmm.
he's witnessing all of those snide back and forth things that are going on that you mentioned earlier, and he's just kind of reveling in the situation. And
Hmm.
I, at one point, Vicky, her mother, and Brian, they realize that this is all going on with the Reverend in their presence. So they kind of say, "Hey, Reverend, why don't you go outside and wait?" And he's like, "Oh no, not at all. This is quite out of the everyday. I'm totally enjoying this." And how he just brightens up when he sees Maggie.
Hmm.
He's smitten by Maggie. And I think he's secretly rooting for Maggie and Mitch to get together. So I just love the part when Mitch asks the Reverend if he wants a drink, and he's like, "Oh, as maybe like a little nuptial toast," and then he's like, you think he's just going to order like a little drink. He's like, "Give me a bourbon on the rocks, make it a double." So that's just hilarious, and I think my most favorite scene is really touching, and that's when the girls discover that they're sisters and they embrace, and that moment really has to take place. That is
Hmm.
just David Swift, just his genius comes into play there, because at first these girls are just at each other's throats, and there has to be a scene where they realize they're sisters, and it has to have some feeling in it. It has to have some emotion, so that'll carry the viewer through the end of the film. And he just does this in such an awesome way. Haley, so Sharon's got the picture of her mother clutched to her chest, and she turns it
Hmm.
around, and Susan, at that, she's a little confused at first, but they get it. They both get goosebumps. They embrace, and then it's just off to the races. They
I
start
think that
planning.
yeah, totally. Like I think it's interesting because when they first see each other at the mess hall, um, Sharon, I think, is blown away a bit more because she even mentions to Susan earlier on, isn't it weird that we have the same face? And she's like, I guess, basically. But
Yeah.
the way that Susan responds is to push or is to pick a fight. And so it culminates in the fight, and then they have to be punished, and they're in the and then finally Sharon is able to break through to Susan to be like, no, for real, I think there's something up.
Yeah.
And once that turn happens, I know exactly what you mean. She flips over that picture, and Susan is finally convinced.
Hmm.
It's so great.
Yeah.
It
I,
proves
I
that you
kind
can
of
have,
tear up.
yeah, well, it proves that you can have good writing in a family movie.
Hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Very well done. And they go through all the deal of getting the parents back. It's just such a cool script, how can they get everybody together at Mitch's property there in Monterey, and how everything just kind of comes together. I mean, the whole movie that they're going to get together, just how is that going to happen? And
Hmm.
the camp scene that Chris says that's one of his favorite scenes, where they just all the pranks on Vicky. And I wanted to mention Disney Girl Forever 30. Her favorite is the ending when they finally get back together. I cry every time. Oh, Mitch, it's been so very long. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's so good. I love, Mitch snaps on the Wi-Fi, and I'm going to nerd out a little bit here. I'm a big classical music fan, and so he's playing. If anybody knows what Mitch is playing on the hi-fi, the piece, the composer, and the name of the piece, then man, you are my best friend, because not only do you love Parent Trap, you also love classical music, so we can be friends forever. But then he plays that piece of music, and she thinks it's the girls watching TV, and then that whole scene where just it just comes together so nicely. It maybe drags on a little bit, but it just comes to a nice little conclusion where Mitch talks about, I miss your stockings in the bathroom. I miss your
Hmm.
hairpins in my tackle box.
I miss you dulling my blades because you shave your
Yeah.
legs.
And they hug. And Kitties and Pills says when Susan first sees her mom, makes her cry every time. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's.
I mean,
She, well, she thinks she's Sharon, and she's like kind of surprised by her reaction. Like, camp wasn't that long, was it?
right, exactly. And well, Haley Mills won the Academy Award, the Special Academy Award for Pollyanna. And this was her second one for Disney, and it just proves she's not a one-hit wonder. Like she takes
Hmm.
something that is more of a farce than Pollyanna and still brings the human to it. And you can tell the way she acts in this movie is so great. And you forget, like you honestly forget because you do think that they are actual twins. You forget that she is performing all of
Hmm.
it
Yeah. Just so well done.
so well
I
done.
love it. Oh, and then she also said, Kitties and Pills says her favorite has to be when Sharon says "wanna bet" to Vicky. Yeah,
Wanna
I
bet?
think it's that scene on the couch, right, where where Vicky is like, she tries her best to get along with Sharon, but Sharon's not having any of this.
Mhm.
And well,
Well, okay.
don't you dare play with the big girls, or yeah,
She does try to get along with Sharon, I guess, but not because she wants to get along with Sharon.
no, yeah, just enough to where they can get married and she can send her off to boarding school. Yeah. So yeah, not none of us like Vicky at all, but
No,
Joanna Barnes is lovely.
100%.
Yeah. Ryan says he loves the camp scene and it sets up for an incredible ending, right? And Chris guessed it was Bolero, that piece of music. Does anybody know? Anybody?
I do not know.
It is okay. I'm gonna nerd out. It's a piece by Beethoven. It's called the Romance for Violin and Orchestra Number 2.
Oh,
That,
that was my second guess.
yeah, of course. I know. So I don't know why they didn't put that on the album. It should be here. Beethoven, come on, he doesn't get any love in the Disney. Well, he did get love in Disney films. Walt did a whole movie on Beethoven.
What
Yeah, it was
was it? The
called
Magnificent
The
Rebel?
Magnificent Rebel. Yeah, yeah, that's on DVD. You can find that through the Disney Movie Club. I believe that's how I got it.
Hmm.
That's a good movie. Yeah, I can really go down a rabbit hole on that one. The actor that played Beethoven was Carl Bem's son, who was a Carl Bem was a composer for the Vienna, or a conductor for the Vienna Philharmonic, and his son was musically gifted, and so he could do all that stuff for reals on screen. So that's kind of, we kind of talked our way through the whole plot. I did want to talk about Susan Henning briefly before we close, because we're almost at an hour. We've just been having too much
I
fun.
could just keep talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So Susan Henning, that Jared, you mentioned Susan already as Hayley's double, and that was just a fun way that I think it was who was the one of the art directors. I want to say, was it Robert Clatworthy? It was his idea, or maybe Carol Clark. I can't remember which
Yeah.
one, but he wanted a double, and there's someone that looked just like Hayley. So they scoured the Los Angeles area and found Susan Henning. The only real difference she had was her eye color was a little off, but her bone structure, her height, her
Hmm.
hair, and everything was just kind of spot on. So whenever you see Hayley on screen, whenever you see Susan and Sharon on screen together, and one of them is, you either see her back, or it's like a 3/4 or almost like a 2/3 kind of shot. That other girl is Susan. And there's one scene in the film where you actually see a full frontal view of Susan's face. Does anybody know what that one is?
I know what it is. I'll let people
Okay.
guess.
And she's just got the cutest laugh in it. So Susan Henning just did a wonderful job, and there's a really awesome documentary of her experience. And the whole time she talks about uh, being, she's not credited in the film, but she's acting alongside Brian Keith, Maureen O'Hara, Una
Hmm.
Merkel, Leo G. Carroll, all the great actors, and never once did she feel that she wasn't part of the team. You know, David Swift had that effect on his cast. Just totally made everybody feel comfortable, made them feel important, valued their opinions. I mean, he was strict, but he completely got the best out of all of his actors because of how he valued them, and what they could bring to the film. And he also let them have a little carte blanche, I guess, improv. He encouraged that. One thing in Pollyanna was that song that Nancy Olson and Haley sing. Early one morning, as the
Oh, yeah,
sun
yeah.
was rising. That was Haley's idea, and she taught the song to Nancy because she felt they had to be doing something while they were walking from one house to the other while they were delivering calf's foot jelly, and so Haley came up with this idea to sing this song, and so yeah, David Swift totally made everybody feel comfortable, and Susan Henning just felt like she was part of the team, and just a wonderful actress. She didn't get credited, but she did receive an award for her performance, and it was only one of three that were ever awarded to any Disney actor or actress. So I've got two questions floating out there. What's the scene that you see Susan Henning full her face, and what award did she win? So,
Well, it looks like there are two answers for the scene where you can see their face.
oh, yeah, I think somebody got it right.
Somebody did get it right.
Yeah, Kitties and Pills, nailed it. You can see her face when they're swimming. Yeah.
It's right. I believe it's right after because they're standing on top of each other to try to
Hmm.
fool Vicky, and then she falls in, and then it cuts to them both swimming, looking over and laughing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Disney Girl Forever. There's another one. That's right. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
After the food fight, you see both of them looking uh, up at Miss Inch with their faces covered in frosting
Yep.
cake. That's right. So Susan Henning, she won the award that she won was called a Duckster. So it's just a little. It's like they used to give out awards called like a Mousker, like a
Okay.
little play on Oscar, which was a Mickey Mouse statue. But Walt wanted something special done for Susan, and he decided to give her a duck, a award called a Duckster, and she shows this off in the bonus features of the Vault Disney DVD two disc set that I have that Ryan just mentioned.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, loaded with bonus features. Uh, Pollyanna got one, and Parent Trap got one. And I do not know why that darn cat doesn't have a two disc set. I don't know why Summer Magic doesn't have a two disc set. I mean, I kind of understand why In Search of the Castaways doesn't have one. Or the Moon Spinners. Why Moon Spinners doesn't have a two disc set. But
I know. I know.
yeah, if you don't have the two disc Vault Disney DVDs of The Parent Trap and Pollyanna, you got to go get those. If you're a Hayley Mills fan, just awesome. So yeah, kitties and pills scared her cat. So, but that's a wrap, I think, on this. So I'm going to go back through and I'll let you think about some final thoughts here, and I'll ask you to share those. Um, Chris says, I love how the grandfather figures it all out before anybody else. That's
Hmm.
right. He totally does. And I love the moment when the grandmother wants to be part of the reunion, and he's finally puts his foot down and says, just leave
Yes.
them alone.
Yep.
Yeah. He was in Follow Me Boys too. Yeah. Charlie Ruggles. Patty Duke show was inspired by this film. Ah, interesting. Chris would know that. That dude. Chris is like the 1950s, 60s sitcom genius. He stayed up and watched way too much Nick at Night, and God bless him for it. Uh, and we already talked about the two disc version, and Disney Girl Forever has them both. Yes, we know you do, because I can totally tell Disney Girl that you've watched them both. She's coming up with a lot of great answers. So
I do.
that'll do it. So yeah, Jared, any closing comments?
I do want to give just one more bit of trivia about David Swift.
Okay, not
Um,
Bill Swift, but
Not Bill
David Swift.
Swift. David Swift, the director, and then he also wrote this. But he also wrote or co-wrote the screenplay for the remake in
Hmm.
1998 of The Parent Trap, which
That's
is
right.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he also wrote the screenplay for Candle Shoe,
Candle Shoe. Yes,
which was
that's a
just,
that's a Helen Hayes film that you can watch without any reservation.
it's true, and that's a good one. That's an
Yeah,
actually a good one.
yeah.
And then
That's a great
also,
movie.
um, personal favorites growing up, I actually enjoyed the sequels um, that Haley Mills did. The second one was just okay. The third one was good, but I enjoyed the Hawaiian honeymoon.
Yeah, I need to watch those. I am sad to tell you, and I'm especially sad to inform Disney Girl Forever 30 that I have not seen any of those sequels. I need to correct that at once.
You should correct it. I mean,
Yeah,
they're totally 80s,
I know.
but they're Haley Mills, so
Yeah, I need to get on a Haley Mills binge, because besides the Disney stuff and the Chalk Garden, Whistle Down the Wind, Tiger Bay, um, Trouble with the Angels,
oh yeah,
those,
oh, Trouble with Angels is good
yeah,
too.
I need to. There's so many more that she did, like in the late '60s and '70s, that I need to see. And then I might as well throw the '80s stuff in there too.
Do
Oh,
it.
and
Worth
then yeah,
watching
we
once.
we can't talk about the Parent Trap and not mention Natasha Richardson and Dennis Quaid. Is it Dennis Quaid? Dennis.
Dennis Quaid. Yep.
Yeah, and then Lindsay Lohan, I believe, was
Lindsay Lohan. Yeah.
that is actually a really well done remake. I mean, if
I
all, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I absolutely agree. And I
Yeah,
think partly because of the David Swift influence.
exactly. Yep, that's exactly why. I wish all the remakes were as good as that one. There's some good, some not so hot,
I
and
agree.
some that I wish were never made. But that's opinions for another show. So, uh, I mean, Parent Trap is such a great film. I'm glad that you were here along with me to talk about it. Again, the reason why I like doing these is to share my love for these films and share them with great people like Jared and Ryan and Chris and Disney Girl and all these other fans. And it's our responsibility as lovers of this genre of Disney films to share our love with everybody else so people can get excited about them, watch them, let Disney know that they're still fans of these classic films, that not all of us, although a lot of us do love Star Wars and Marvel and all the new stuff that's coming out,
Hmm.
that we still have a huge passion for the classic programming, and that it would be so sad if it just disappeared. It can't. So
I agree. And I
yeah.
also just I like making sure that people understand that there's more to Disney than just the animated stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, right on, totally.
Because you hear Disney and you think of Snow White and Cinderella and all that, which they're all fantastic, but there are so many good ones from especially 50s and 60s.
All right, Ryan has not seen The Mandalorian. Dude, you need to fix that.
You haven't seen Parent Trap 2, 3, or 4.
I know. I need to fix that.
I have not seen The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a Star Wars guy, so I'll tell you what. I love The Mandalorian. I have not seen Loki, and I have not seen the Captain America one,
Yeah,
and
no, me
I
either.
have no desire to.
WandaVision?
I loved WandaVision. I
Yeah, me too. I
started to
liked
watch
WandaVision.
Loki. I got through the second episode and just I couldn't do it. I just something was missing. So okay, finally I'm going to end this is our Hayley Mills film. There are two Hayley Mills films not on Disney Plus. Jack's Video Revelry already mentioned one, In Search of the Castaways. The other one is Summer Magic. Get on Disney Plus, go to the Help feature, and you can request those movies be released on Disney Plus. So just go in there and just type it in. I have a post about how you can do it.
Do
Those need to be on Disney Plus.
do it, do it, do it. Especially Summer Magic. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No sense at all.
Yeah, Summer Magic not on Disney Plus. Come on, Disney, what's going on? I mean,
Ugh.
all right, Jared. Hey, thanks a lot for coming on the show. I don't know if this is really a show; it's just a chat.
Thanks
But
for having me.
uh, we'll definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And thanks everybody for all of your comments and questions. That helps move the chat along, and appreciate all your input. And I got to give a shout out to my podcast partner Chris, who is our ultimate fact checker. He is the bomb. So, bye everybody.
Yes.
Thanks
Thank you.
for joining. We'll talk to you later. Yes,
Bye,
watch
everyone.
North Avenue Irregulars. Get that on Disney Plus. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.